Alright guys, and welcome to another video. Today I just want to do a little bit of a light-hearted and fun video, kind of theory-crafting what Classic Plus raids and dungeons would look like if they ever actually happened. What really inspired me to make this video was Toyhouze's video. He was highlighting a Reddit post that kind of theorized a new zone called Northern Lordaeron, which would have like a Scarlet Crusade themed raid. So you should definitely check that video out as well. You should definitely go and subscribe to him because he makes really good videos. And it kind of got me thinking what an actual Classic Plus raid would look like if they actually did do it. And you can throw ideas around like, you know, Karazhan Crypts and Hyjal, but since they actually did get released in, you know, TBC, then why would they do that in Classic Plus? Like, why would they just rebrand the Burning Crusade raids into Classic WoW raids? Although that would be kind of cool doing Karazhan as level 60, I don't think it's very, you know, creative. I want to think about, you know, what raids would Blizzard have genuinely released with knowledge of the raids and lore they were going to release in TBC if they were going to spend a little bit more time in Vanilla World of Warcraft's lifetime, you know, developing Vanilla WoW before they released TBC. Like, what raid would have come after Naxxramas before Outland? This would have to be something very closely wrapped in Vanilla World of Warcraft's lore, you know, some kind of threat that's already in the game that just wasn't fully fleshed out. To me, a Scarlet Crusade raid, you know, it does sound kind of cool, but to me it doesn't make much sense because we kind of teamed up with a Scarlet Crusade in the Naxxramas patch. However, they could take it down a route where maybe the Scarlet Crusade could get even more badly infiltrated by the Scourge and demons, you know, like they already are, and then that can become like the aftermath threat following Naxxramas. But I was thinking something a bit more out there, okay? I want to talk about Un'Goro Crater. Not many people know what is going on with Un'Goro Crater. To be honest, it does feel like a bit of a last-minute idea for a zone from Blizzard. I imagine the conversation went down like this. Right, we need a zone, you know, to fill in the map. Let's just make a big dome-shaped zone with a volcano in the middle of it and fill it with dinosaurs. And then, you know, alright, sound, let's do that. That's probably how the conversation went down, because it is a very bizarre zone. But if you really look into Un'Goro Crater, it's not actually that much of a zone. It's actually one huge laboratory for the Titans. You see, this is where the Titans used to actually experiment with creating new forms of life, and the zone is supposed to be protected by magical pylons to stop people getting in and out. In Wrath of the Lich King, the kind of idea of Un'Goro Crater is fleshed out a little bit with the Shaper's Terrace, which you have to teleport to from the zone I can never pronounce correctly in, you know, Wrath of the Lich King. So, in the mountains above Un'Goro Crater, there is actually the Shaper's Terrace. And that is essentially like a factory for making new forms of life. And in Wrath of the Lich King, you do actually go in there, and there is a Titan, well, a Titan's daughter, I think is the correct term, actually, you know, messing around creating like plants and stuff. But what if someone or something decides to do a little bit of dirty business in the Shaper's Terrace to create, well, monsters? You know, some typical bad guy gets in there, starts creating some monsters, because this place is essentially like a machine capable of creating life. That could be so easily exploited to create some really badass bad guys for us as the players to defeat. I think the formula would be pretty simple. You know, you insert the bad guy makes 300-foot demon dinosaurs. Half the raid could be like a Jurassic Park looking place with outdoor bosses, kind of like Zul'Gurub, and then the other half could be like Ulduar 2.2, Bob's your uncle, because who doesn't love Ulduar and dinosaurs? And the ideas don't really stop there. I mean, there's so much unfinished lore in the classic World of Warcraft zones. For instance, there's actually a Burning Legion clan in Desolace called the Burning Blade clan. It's like a division of the Burning Blade clan anyway. And they're just chilling, summoning loads of demons with these portals into Desolace. Right? They're based in these Night Elf ruins in a place that they named after Manoroth called Manorock Coven. I think I pronounced that correctly. You know, with all these portals popping up, I mean, that is a pretty significant threat going on right there. That could easily inspire and justify, you know, a dungeon or two or a 10-man raid. I can just imagine an awesome dungeon where you have to slowly descend into Night of Ruins fighting demons. And just to make it a power of 3, I had another idea. They could really push the boat out with Booty Bay. I always felt like there could be so much more done with Booty Bay than, you know, just a low-level quest hub for Stranglethorn Vale. I think it's generally the coolest place in the entirety of World of Warcraft. I mean, there's even a pub made out of shipwrecks. I mean, what isn't there to love about that? So why not extend the lore of Booty Bay and put a dungeon or a raid there? I was thinking something like, you know, Stormwind Stockades, but for Booty Bay. Then I was also thinking a little bit more out the box and have more of a kind of mobile kind of raid, like, you know, the gunship battle in ICC, Deathwing's Back, that kind of, you know, boss fight, and obviously the train one in Warlords of Draenor, the dungeon. Why not make a raid where you're basically on a pirate ship, right? I mean, who doesn't like pirates, let's be honest. I have to admit I'm a little obsessed with pirates, but just imagine a raid or a dungeon where you're on a pirate ship protecting like smuggled booty for, you know, some kind of pirate organisation that you're working for, transporting that to the Ratchet and protecting that boat from sea monsters and other pirates. And they could also take it down a more stereotypical ghost ship kind of dungeon, like the Maw of Souls in Legion. I just definitely think they could have done more with Booty Bay rather than just have like one day of the year for Pirate Day. You know, there's so much potential there because it's a really interesting place. You've got other places like, you know, Duskwood. That's another zone that could have easily had a dungeon. There's a lot of underground crypts beneath Ravenhill Cemetery. In fact, the area is so big underground that it doesn't feel like a dungeon, or at least, you know, when you're going down there, you feel like you're going to accidentally discover the entrance to a dungeon. But, you know, maybe Blizzard scrapped making a dungeon there, like, in the development process, you know, who knows. But anyway, before I get carried away, let's move on. All this is, you know, it's very nice to talk about. It's a lot of fun, but let's be honest, it's probably not going to happen, unfortunately. That is the darker side of it. I think what's more likely, if Blizzard do actually kind of want to take it down the Classic Plus route, I think they'll add heroic difficulties to Classic WoW raids and dungeons, or at least make those, you know, raids and dungeons more difficult, since that is the path of least resistance and, yeah, let's be honest, most money. I mean, to be honest, I would be pretty happy with this. Like, imagine doing like heroic Blackrock Depths and Shadowfang Keep and stuff. It would be nice to actually revisit your favourite low-level dungeons as a high-level character, and then there'd be new loot, which would be good because it would change the best in slot lists, and it would make the community kind of ignorant to what is the most optimal way to play Classic WoW, and it would add a process of discovery once again, kind of like playing a, you know, a new MMO, so you get that new, fresh MMO feeling in Classic WoW. They could, you know, take that even further and just totally change all the loot in the game. Right, so everything's like totally new and totally different. I think they should definitely try to freshen it up a bit, especially if they want people to, you know, take the time to roll on fresh Classic servers. Because if they don't rework the raids, and if they don't rework the classes, I probably just, you know, I just probably won't bother, to be honest. I don't think a lot of people will either. If they just released fresh Classic servers exactly how they were in Classic WoW, I mean, I think they'll just end up as bad as they are now, as the Classic Era realms. They just won't have the biggest population in the world, unless they were going to release like 1 or 2 fresh Classic servers for every region. But, you know, what's the point of that? I don't really see Blizzard doing something like that. You know, when they release a product, they want as much people to play it as possible. So I definitely think they'll try and, you know, change things a little bit for the better. And let's just cross our fingers that they're going to add new dungeons and new raids, because that would be pretty cool, and it definitely would drive a lot of people back to playing Classic WoW. But anyway, I'm going to end the video there. My name is MetaGoblin. To my next video. Ciao.